How's it going, guys? My name is Zach with the Movie Castle, and today we're going to be taking a look at Hack Slash Love Stories. This was originally published as issue 5 and is the third thing collected in this omnibus, and overall I feel that it really does demonstrate Hack Slash understanding its episodic structure and its nature as an ongoing series. We had basically just come out of Shout at the Devil, and that was a really big epic story where they literally go to another world. Well, we need a little bit of downtime, okay? And this episode really does that. It's 3 stories, all centered around some form of love, but 2 of them are actually pretty low-key, and even though they're low-key, they really do help us flesh out and understand our characters. The story with Cassie and Vlad, which is actually the smallest story in the book, has Cassie simply looking for a place for Vlad to sleep because the damp weather is getting to his lungs. It's simple, but a very heartwarming story, and really does help you get invested in their relationship, even though the love there isn't necessarily romantic. And then we get the guy from Land of Lost Toys and the vet girl, and we had seen them as a happy, lovey relationship that kind of came out of nowhere, but here we get to see them. We flash all the way back to right after Hack Slash versus Chucky, and we get to see them talk and try to understand this thing that came out of nowhere, and we see pivotal moments in their relationship that help build it to what it is. It's not just cheap fighting, but it's honest conversations, and it plays it out really well and helps flesh it out really well. The main one, in regards to the plot, is this scientist that's working for the same laboratory, or the same company, rather, that was in Slice Hard, and he had a crush on Miss America growing up. Now that she's back as a slasher, where does he stand? It's an interesting idea, but also the idea of the lab, Cassie's father, what are slashers really? That had just been little teases at the ends of the books before, and now we're actually getting it center stage and exploring it just a little bit. It helps get us into this world without being too exposition heavy or dragging down the series with a heavy overall plot. It's a good little peek into the curtain of things to come and a really nice bit of setup. Overall, this is a really smart issue with 2 super heartwarming stories, and then one that really helps spark future plot developments. I really do like it. It's done really well. Definitely recommend this one. Anyway, without further ado, let's switch to the close-up camera. I'll show you guys a bit of the story, a bit of the art, and do some analysis. So without further ado, let's switch to the close-up camera. Alright, here we are inside the castle, taking a closer look at Hack Slash Love Stories. Once again, we're going to be looking inside of Omnibus 2. Bringing this closer to the camera, we can once again see that it is written by Tim Seeley, and then the penciler is actually still Emily Stone for 3 in a row. As much as Hack Slash is known for switching around artists, cool to see the consistency, and also originally published as issue number 5. Anyway, after that, let's flip to the story, and right off the bat, kind of a fun cover for this one. They do it like it was a fake style magazine. We get to see love stories at the top, but then we get all these fake articles, a quote from Vlad and Cassie, and then tips from Emily Christie, a sort of hint at who's going to be in the issue. And is beauty really skin deep? That will come into play in a second. I also think this image, that looks like they took a real photo and then put like a few cartoon lines on top of it. It seems kind of interesting. Yeah. Art by Crank, modeled by Sandra Kramer. I think that's the girl that inspired the look of Cassie, right? Anyway, after that, a scene that I can't show you much of, so I'll try to keep the camera kind of tight. We get this one kid, and he's going to be sick from school. He's talking his mother into letting him stay, but when he's staying, he's going to be looking at his father's collection of dirty magazines, and that's where he'll see the famous picture of the former Miss America and have a childhood crush on her. We then cut to years and years later, and this kid has grown up into being a scientist, and they're bringing in a crate with a slasher in it. Yeah, I do like that we get a follow-up to all the stuff set up in Slice Hard. But yeah, this is the same organization. They investigated the aftermath of Slice Hard, and they said they found one roaming around, and from her dialogue talking about being Miss America, they realized that it is Emily Christie, but boy has she changed. So yeah, kind of a fun idea there, you know, that you had someone you had a childhood crush on, and now they look like this, but maybe you can save them, maybe you can bring them back. They get to dig in a little bit to the plot this time around, and there is a lot of stuff they set up in here, with Cassie's father being one of the researchers, and the idea that they refer to them not as slashers, but as revenants, I think, and a bit about the science behind them. I can't wait to see how that plays off. They hinted at it like at the very end of, I think, issue 1, and now we're getting a build on that. So while the story of this one particular scientist is a little bit of an aside, it does help set up the main plot of this series, but also bouncing back to Slice Hard. I think that's really fun. Anyway, after that, we get a bit with Cassie there, and I really do like, you know, Cassie's not actually going to be fighting any slashers this issue, and her story is actually kind of one of the smallest, but it really is touching and heartwarming, and also getting to see their life on the road and getting to see what their situation is like. I feel it's really interesting. So we get them in the van. Money is tight, they can't afford a hotel room. However, Vlad has lung problems. That's part of the reason why he wears the mask, but he's not breathing right, and he wakes up in the middle of the night to a start, and Cassie says, the van's leaky, it's bad out here, we really need to get you a place to stay, at least for tonight, but they don't have any money, and Cassie says, well, we can always make a little bit of money selling stuff that we got off the slashers. So she grabs like a bag full of knives and a chainsaw, and she's going to head down to the local pawn shop in order to get some money, and the guy, of course, is going to say, I'm only going to give you a little bit, and when she complains, he points out, you know, there's blood on this chainsaw, right? And I did kind of wonder, where do Cassie and Vlad get their money from? And do they get it entirely just from selling things at pawn shops and stuff? Because, yeah, I mean, I can see why they're perpetually broke, but they gotta be getting a little bit more. I don't know. But anyway, when it's not enough, Cassie has an idea of what she can do, but I obviously won't spoil that. But needless to say, you know, it's love stories, and even though this isn't a romantic kind of love, I do really like how it handles the relation between Cassie and Vlad. Anyway, after that, who I think actually gets the most pages is the vet and the nerdy guy from Land of Lost Toys. As I said in previous reviews, their relationship was always one of the kind of funner, unexpected elements, and this picks up right after Hack Slash versus Chucky. They see something in their house because the door got left open after they got kidnapped, and it turns out to just be a raccoon, even though they think it's Chucky. And even though they were thinking about just being friends, after a little bit of a scare, it turns out maybe we do want to be together. And I really do like how it fleshes their relationship out here. You know, they do have a few arguments and they do have a few talks, how he doesn't have a job, and is he really that great of a catch, you know, and should they stay moved in together? They talk, but they don't just blatantly fight. And I think so many times when people try to do relationships and flesh them out and give them tension, they make the characters just fight and argue with each other. But here it's more them having real-world conversations and just trying to figure out where they stand with each other, and I think that really does help flesh it out. But one thing I really do like is that the guy, her boyfriend from all the way back in Euthanized, well, he didn't die, so he gets to make another appearance here, and that is something that, you know, I think is an interesting thing to throw in there and an interesting source of conflict for them, and to get to see him actually stand up to this boyfriend, makes him a little bit tougher of a character. Now, there is more to the story than this, and again, kind of like Cassie's, we're not fighting a slasher this time around, but we do just get to see slice of life, flashing back to see how their relationship got built up. It is really interesting. So I like how this issue advances the plot, but also is kind of a downtime moment, and really just in the downtime, not just wasting it, but fleshing things out. I think it's a really cool way to spin this issue, and a good thing to do if you have a long-running series. Overall, I like this issue. I like what it sets up. I like what it fleshes out. Can't wait to get to the next one. Anyway, to everyone who's watched so far, thank you for watching. To everyone who's liked and subscribed, thank you. You really are helping the channel out. I'll leave a relevant playlist on the bottom. This should be my hack slash playlist, where you should be able to find my reviews to a lot of the past stories. Anyway, have a good day. I'll see you guys again very, very soon. Relevant playlist on the bottom. Have a good day now.